right, looks like we're live and everyone is in attendance that's going to be in attendance. We might have some latecomers running on Indian time. We're running on Indian time, but it's all right, we're Indian. So let's go ahead and give a call to order this morning. And if you could, Michelle, could you lead us in a word of prayer, please?
Dearly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord, and we thank you, Lord, for this time that we come together, Lord, and discuss the business, Lord, of our tribe. Help us, Lord, as leaders to allow you to lead and help us in our decisions. Help us to put our people first. And we just pray, Lord, to be with those, Lord, that are struggling today with sickness or loved ones that they have lost, Lord. We just pray that you'll wrap your arms around them. We thank you, Lord, for the season and for what it means, and thank you for sending a Savior to the world. And we just love you, Lord, and we ask you, Lord, that you lead this meeting. In your name we pray. Amen.
Roll call and declaration of quorum, Mr. Secretary Treasurer.
Oh, Michelle,
Present.
Zach,
Here.
Lloyd,
Present.
myself, present, Callie,
Present.
Joseph.
I am present.
We have a quorum.
All right. Dropping down to reading, correction, and approval of minutes and phone polls.
Motion to approve.
Have
I'll make a motion.
approved by Lloyd and a second by Mr. Turley. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? All right. Minutes and phone polls are approved. Next, we have approval and disapproval of treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Turley,
I'll second that motion.
second by Vice Chairwoman Bowden. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Approval, disapproval of reports submitted in our monthly packet.
I will make the motion to approve the report submitted.
We have a motion to approve by Vice Chairwoman Bowden,
That's second.
second by Secretary Treasurer Guy Barker. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Okay, dropping down to program directors reports. If we have any directors on the Zoom meeting, now is your time. You have the floor.
Barb?
Barbara, did you want to give a report on behalf of the Gaming Commission, Gaming Agency?
She's on mute.
Hello,
Hi, Barbara.
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, I can finally see you too. Good. I don't know if this works very good for old people that don't know how to do electronics very well.
Well, we appreciate
anyway.
you being here this morning. We can hear you loud and clear. You have the floor.
Oh, okay. Well, we've had a very busy month. Moving into some of the backup that we have for the investigation and the audit. We had one hearing on a appeal for revocation, and we have sent out the final results for that, so that can either move on to the next step or in our process, or come to a stop. And the investigating auditor had 4 interviews this week. I think this month. finalizing, I feel like all of the interviews now have been completed, and that we'll move on to doing what our process allows us to do, and try to move on and complete the investigation as quickly as possible. As far as our part, we will be letting you all know as we move along how many more hearings that we'll have to have. It looks like now we will probably have to have 6. And so that's about the conclusion of everything that we're trying to wrap up on the audit and the forensic audit. The workload for that has increased, of course, with our legal counsel and with our commissioner. She has been involved several times with some of the legal counsel for the other individuals. We're remaining as well as we can. Of course, sometimes it takes longer to complete an issue than what you'd hope, but we're moving along as quickly as we can, just so you know. The licensing department has been very busy, especially the vendor license, because this is the time of year when people start renewing their vendor licenses for beginning in the new year. Right now, the Quapaw Casino, as you can see from your report that I submitted, has 106 employees. 35 of them are Native American, and 13 of them are Quapaw. Downstream, there is currently 764 employees. 112 of them are Native American, and 50 of them are Quapaw members. In the construction, right now, until next month, of course, it will go down considerably. There are 573 licensed and registered vendors. And I was looking over that information, seeing if we were right on track for the end of the year for vendors. As you may or may not know, $25,000 a year or more requires to have a more of a license than just a consultant or entertainment or something like that. And so we always want to check and make sure that everyone's in line with the licenses that they are required to have. And so the vendor license individual has been working very hard trying to get that all in place for the coming year. Also in the compliance department, we've hired a couple of new employees, and we lost an employee at Downstream. So we're trying to ramp up again with the employees in compliance, especially, and in our office since the COVID furloughs. And we're not right up there yet, but we're working on it. We're trying to find individuals that will have some knowledge and can fill in those positions as quickly as possible and hit the ground going. Let's see. We will be sending out the EGM, electronic gaming machine applications for next year to all the vendors from the compliance department. Sunny and Michael will be sending those out to all of those that have machines at both facilities. And we are trying to work, I was working with the past director of EGMs to get new contracts in place, as the old contracts have been in place, some of them since 2008, and they just keep putting addendums on them and so on and so forth. So they're just real cumbersome and they're not up to date. So we were trying to start creating new contracts with these vendors, machine vendors, and so we could be more efficient in what we have and the percentages and the holes and so on and so forth. So we will be working with Josh Seiler on doing that and getting those all in place as quickly as we can before the time comes around for them to renew. The IT individual, the IT agent, is getting our servers up to date. Looks like we are going to have to possibly purchase a few new computers, as ours are getting really old. And of course, I like to hang on to mine because I don't like to change. But anyway, he's moving along with that and getting things in place so that we can change over and have new updates and stuff in place. So everything's tip top there. So unless you have some questions, that's about all we have. We're moving right along. We thank you all for the holidays that are coming up, that we're going to get a little rest and be with our families. And we hope that you all have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year as you move towards the end of the year. And we can't probably wait for 2020 to get over any more quickly than everybody else. And hope we move on to COVID-free atmospheres as soon as this pandemic gets past. But anyway, Merry Christmas to everyone, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you for your report, Barbara. I do have a question in regards to, have you heard or do you expect any movement on the federal or state, anything that would affect regulatory wise or operational for that matter?
No, we not currently. We have, of course, we had the summons that we had initially months ago, but state-wise, the state did try to come in and was requesting a lot of financial information right after the furlough was over, right after we reopened. And they really don't have the authority, according to the compact, with our agreement with them. And of course, the governor Stitt was trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do, push himself around. But he met with legal problems on both of those avenues where he was trying to get us to pay, to extend, not to automatically extend the contracts and the agreements. And then again with the two tribes that did opt out and try to get new negotiations. And so that was all ended. And they tried to come in and request all of this financial information. I mean, there was like 20 different items on there they wanted. And they don't have the authority to do that. So we told them, in as nice a way as possible, that no, we wouldn't produce that they could get it from the external auditors. And so then that dropped. And they haven't been to see us in 2 years now almost. So they didn't go ahead and come whenever we refused to have those items prepared. And they haven't contacted us since. Now, NIGC, on the other hand, they do ask a lot of questions. Of course, they do. They have come in with a lot of COVID information. And when you reopened after being furloughed and shut down, they had a lot of questions that they wanted answered. And like I told Stuart Grayson the other day, I just wanted, this isn't very professional, I guess. I didn't tell them, but I wanted to just say, none of your business. But some of the things that they were requesting were just, I don't know, they were way out there, really nothing in the mix that, of course, with the COVID, that's not going to be in the mix. And we understand that. So we did eventually complete asking their questions, I guess, to their suitability. And but they have not mentioned coming. They have asked about different things that are going on that they have been told, or they, people are so kind to inform them of things that they know that may or may not be true. And so they have questioned us a couple of times on a few things, but nothing material to initiate any type of investigation or whatever on their part.
Okay. Thank you. We do have some information on our end. Callie, would you mind updating us on the information you sent this morning about the restraining order, Governor Stitt?
Oh, yeah. So Governor Stitt put out a mandate to where restaurants and bars need to stop serving alcohol at 11 o'clock. And he recently extended that an additional 30 days, which extends into New Year's Eve. Well, since that has happened, a judge has granted a restraining order against Governor Stitt and the Able Commission. The 11 o'clock curfew is off for at least the next, well, I guess, I don't know if it's 11 or 12 nights. The order is going to last until December 30th. Then they're going to have an evidentiary hearing. Until then, the state's unable to enforce the curfew, and it's preventing bars and restaurants from serving it. So that's new and interesting. I can't wait to see how, what the end result is for that. I was going to say something else, but if it comes back to me, I'll let you know.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's good to know because, we've extended, the casino has extended their hours to be open 24 hours a day now. And we don't have any problem with that. We would like to, though, encourage them. And we did talk with the general manager concerning some petitions between machines, and he's going to set them up a little bit differently out versus banks into carousels, which will give a little more space and, do some things that will assist us in being a little more safe. And that's good news to know that they've, done that, because that does play a big part in, of course, especially New Year's Eve.
Okay, thank you for that update. Barbara, anything else you'd like to mention or have?
No, not that I know of. If no one else has any questions, we're good. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas. Hey, one quick question. We're coming into January 1. Can you tell us when's the last time your department has had any pay raises?
Just cost of living.
Cost of living?
And then there have been a few that have, excelled in what they've been doing when they've stepped into a position. And also we've tried to give a little increase in pay. It hasn't been a large increase at all whatsoever. But we did have to, and this is probably worth bringing up, and I apologize for not thinking of it sooner. We have had to change all of our fingerprinting process. The FBI came in several months ago and has audited the National Indian Gaming Commission and the way they did fingerprinting and background checks. Well, now they're charging an enormous more amount for fingerprinting than they did previously. And so the casinos will have to absorb that cost, through us. But they have very stringent rules now on who you can fingerprint, what you can do with the fingerprints, how you have to conduct the fingerprints. And so we've had to make several changes. You have to have an officer that's in charge of all of that over the whole thing, know all the rules that they've set out now, and be in charge of making sure that it's all done according to what they now need. So we've had to change the office at Quapaw Casino. We had to put the licensing agent clear in the back room under lock and key, with all of the files have to be under lock and key. The machine, the fingerprint machine, has to be under lock and key. So we had to change around the whole setup over at Quapaw Casino. And in our department, we had to empty an office to put just the machine in to take the fingerprints, because it has to be under lock and key. And of course, our file room has always been that way, so that didn't have to change. But the new rules have been set in place. All of the agents have to be up on who needs to be, fingerprinted, who can be. We can't send in, like, even QNGA employees aren't required to, because they're supposed to be, upstanding citizens in the first place, I guess. You can only assume so. So there are just individuals and positions now that are different than what they used to be as far as doing the fingerprint. We can't send in, Aaron is in charge of all licensing individuals at both casinos, and there are certain things that we can and can't do now. So that's been a big issue with licensing.
Do you fingerprint for all levels of licensing?
We used to, but we can't anymore.
Okay.
And if we do, the information now is a lot of what is done with it. Previously, we could share it, or did, with when we found out, someone had a charge or something like that they didn't reveal. We would tell the director or whomever was interviewing them, maybe HR, shared a lot with HR. Now we cannot do that.
Okay.
And I'm not sure about all the details, because I'm not one of the ones that's under licensing specifically. But I can assure you that it's a lot more difficult, and we've, had to allow for that with agents.
Okay.
And with casino staff, whomever is hired. It just can't be shared like it used to be.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you, Barbara, for the update and keeping us in compliance. We appreciate you and all of your staff. Do a wonderful job, and just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and be well.
Okay, we're trying. Thank you very much. Oh, and then as you said, be well. There was a little flip on one of the websites about me having favoritism with some of the administration, and that I got paid my whole salary while I was off sick at the hospital. I had over 250 hours of paid time off, PTO time, and that's what you use. Anybody does, not just me, but if you're off and you're sick, you can, and you're on disability, which I got like $50 of pay period disability pay. So you make up the difference with your PTO time, and that's why you get your initial salary. It's not something that anybody gives you favoritism over. So I just wanted to set that straight with everybody that may think that, some individuals get favoritism. They don't. Everyone's treated fairly, and the HR department and the administration does a great job trying to keep track of everybody's time, and they're, help them, assist them when they're off sick and have to go on disability, which I have had a couple of times. And, when you get older, you're just going to be ill sometimes, and you can't help it. So just so everybody knows, the Quapaw Nation does treat everybody fairly, no matter what.
Thank you for your remarks, Barbara. Didn't even have to say that, putting your personal information out there, but we appreciate it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I'm going to open up the floor to any other program director reports. Do we have anybody else on? I know I mentioned that as long as you had your report submitted, it would be, with technology and everything like that. I know there were a few people that had problems with connection or their broadband, capability. So I wanted to give a chance or an allowance for them. But if anybody else is on that would like to say anything, maybe Everett. He can't unmute for some reason. Maybe Michael, can we help Mr. Bandy out there?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, it says I'm unmuted. This is Everett Bandy. I'm the director of the Quapaw Nation Historic Preservation Program. And as many know, and some may not, we review federal projects to ensure that Quapaw historical sites do not get impacted by the actions of the federal government. So during last month, we reviewed 387 Section 106 applicable projects or federal projects in the Quapaw Nation ancestral territory. We also worked on 2 agreement documents. One was the Yazoo Basin document, which is still ongoing. And we also worked on the 3 River PA, which was executed by the business committee at the last business committee meeting. We also had an individual seek better opportunities. And so we posted their position with HR, and we've been conducting interviews of tribal members for that position. And then also yesterday, we were able to finalize and submit our annual grant report for the year, which was sent into National Park Service. And that's everything I have to present. If anyone has any questions, though, I'd be glad to answer them.
Your new position is it a new position, or you're just filling the old position?
It is an old position that's already been in existence, and the individual who had that job received a new job at Downstream that they wanted to move on to. And so we posted that position. It's not a new position, though. We had 3 tribal member applications, and we conducted the interviews for those last week.
And is it TIPO coordinator?
It's called the TIPO admin assistant position.
Okay.
And they primarily handle logging, all the correspondence that I mentioned that we receive. One of the large pieces of the responsibility for that position is logging that. We have to maintain a log of when they were received and what letter we responded with, so we can keep track if a federal agency calls to check on the status of their review. That's a large part of the job, and there's some other stuff they do as well.
Sounds pretty important. Hopefully we get some good candidates in there for you.
Yeah.
Do any other members of the BC have any questions for Mr. Bandy? All right. Well, thank you, sir, for presenting, and we appreciate everything that you and your office does. And thank you. Merry Christmas. Be well, and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any other directors for the director reports? Anybody? Anybody out there? If not, let's go ahead and drop on down to old business. And this is the Constitution Committee appointments, appointing 2 new members to the committee. And if there is anybody on from the Constitution Committee who would like to give a report, I'll go ahead and give you the floor. Do we have anybody?
Is Roman on?
He is here. Can we go ahead and unmute him, Mikel?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Sorry, I am good. I'm good. I was like, oh man, I can't unmute. But I understand why. Good morning, everybody. My name is Roman. I am a member of the Constitution Committee. As of we met last month. We meet right after the business committee. And we might be changing that as this date doesn't work for everybody who's currently appointed to the business committee. Last month, many of you know that Chairman Byrd had appointed Mans McKibben, and the date will not work for him as this is one of his working dates. So we're gonna see what we could do to kind of adjust that to have him part of our group. The committee has elected a chair, and the chair will be yours truly. So I'm very honored by that. And again, once we get our footing underneath us, we'll have more in-depth reports. But what happened last month was that we heard from the business committee and what their requests were in getting out of the gate, and some of the items we would like to see included. After today, we'll have a more clear scope of where we are at and that direction that we're following. But as far as adding 2 additional members, what we'd like to do, we like, there's 5 of us on the committee. We would like to add 2 more, and what I'm requesting is that we add Carrie Wilson and Everett Bandy as 2 additional members on the committee. We believe that both of these individuals will bring a lot to the committee, as both have a lot to do with the cultural aspect of the tribe, our history, and I think that they'll have a lot to contribute to us getting our constitution going. And also, I had another. And also, we would like to consider adding 2 at-large members, or 2 alternates, whatever you want to call them, and we'd like them to be important because we'd like them to be a part of our meetings also. Should anybody step down or vacate their position, that we wouldn't have a delay in getting somebody new appointed. We also wouldn't have a delay in trying to get somebody up to speed or abreast of what's happening, that they would be participating in everything and they would know what's going on. And one of those names that had come up in our discussion was Larry Mercer, as possibly being an at-large member. We had an individual reach out to him, and he said he would be definitely interested in being in that position and being a sounding board as we're going forward. And we don't have anybody considered for that second at-large position. Should you consider it necessary? One more item we do have, we're going to figure out today how to kind of work this in, because community engagement is going to be a large piece of this. But right now, Heather has set us up with an email, and that email that we could all be reached at is constitutioncommittee@quapawnation.com. So if anybody right now has any ideas or wants to correspond with the Constitution Committee, that would be it. And once again, it's constitutioncommittee@quapawnation.com. And that's all I have for now.
Great. Thank you, Roman, and congratulations on being the chair of the committee, and having the faith of your colleagues is it's a tremendous honor and a responsibility. So
It really is.
Looking forward to the work that everyone does, and the draft of the Constitution, and getting us where we need to be as a tribal people, as a tribal nation. I appreciate your report, and the individuals that you mentioned for appointment, in addition to the committee. I will consider those, and what I would like to do is have a conversation with each of those individuals just to get a better understanding of their abilities, capabilities, and what they're bringing to the table. I can tell you that I know two of those individuals, and both of those are pretty reasonable recommendations. So I will consider those and hopefully have movement or action taken in the next meeting.
Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So I guess as a item, the action for Constitution Committee appointments, if I could go ahead and entertain a motion to table until the next meeting, I'll entertain that now.
I'll make a motion that we table it to the next meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion by member Michelle Newton and then a second by Secretary Treasurer Barker. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that motion state postpone rather than table.
Okay.
If the second and the motioner would accept that.
I'll accept that.
That's fine.
Okay. The motion amended to include postpone rather than a tabling. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'll call for the question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, we'll postpone those appointments until the next business committee meeting. Dropping down for compensation committee appointments. I don't know if there's anybody to speak on this, but I'll go ahead and give an update. Last month, there was some discussion, and it's something that's been needed for quite some time. Not just with the Constitution Committee, but also with compensation and how we go about setting, wages and all of those amounts, not just for business committee members, but also all of the rest of our boards, committees, subcommittees, even our employees for that matter. And to get the ball rolling, we established a compensation committee in our last business committee meeting. And I believe we appointed Linda Valier and Rodney Spriggs to that committee. And I have 3 more recommendations to add to the committee. That is a Derek Jennings, Alan Kaufman, Dr. Alan Kaufman, and Morgan Dow. And I think once we get those 3 established and put on, they'll join the other 2 members of the compensation committee, and they can meet and again get the wheels turning and get some motion on something that's been needed for quite some time. And with those 3 individuals and the appointments this morning, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for those.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Secretary Treasurer Barker.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Turley. Any discussion?
Question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Okay, we have a 5-member compensation committee now. Dropping down to new business. Can somebody take that, please? Zach, you got it?
Yep, I was trying to get my agenda pulled up here. Quapaw Nation Detention Services Agreement with K County Justice Facilities Authority. Trying to get that switched over.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the agreement.
I'd like to make the motion.
We have a motion by Secretary Treasurer Barker. Second.
I'll second that motion.
I think we have a second by Vice Chairwoman Bowden. Any
I
discussion?
have one correction on the actual resolution there.
Yes,
Down on the signatures, it says the Quapaw National Police or Chief of Police. It probably needs to be changed over to Quapaw Nation Chief of Police.
Yeah, good catch. If we could make those corrections and amend that.
In addition, can you also check the name that they reference to us in that agreement, just to make sure? I know they say Quapaw Nation, but they also refer to us, I believe, as the executive committee, and there's something else.
Okay. Within the body of the document, we'll make sure that all proper names and acronyms are given and explicit in that document. Any other discussion?
Call for the question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, the agreement is approved. Dropping down. Zach, you mind taking that one?
Resolution 12-19-20A, a resolution void resolution 080410A, and appointing Joseph Byrd to the Northeastern Tribal Health System Governing Board.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by
Second.
Secretary Treasurer Barker, second by Mr. Buffalo. Discussion.
Call for the question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay. There's, what do we have here now? Open forum. I want to open up the floor to any of the other business committee. Oh, wait, before that, I'm sorry. You know, every month, whenever we gather, you know, it's as a tribal nation and as leaders of our government, we see a lot of things, we hear a lot of things in the community, and with that, we've faced you know, people passing, elders passing in our community, and because we come into contact with that and experience that, I, you know, want to keep on giving them their moment during every committee meeting, just to honor them and acknowledge them. And so with that, I'd like to call out a few names. Some of these, I try to keep it where it's in between meetings. So like the people that we lost since the last November meeting. However, sometimes we may miss one or two, and I apologize for that. We're doing the best we can when it comes to gathering those lists. So I have, you know, a list, a name that happened back in October, but I just want to make sure that we're mentioning everybody that we can and paying respect to those families and their loved ones. So with that, I want to acknowledge Pauline Sosi, Howard Leon Old Jr., William George Weber Jr., and Nadine Ruth Anderson. And if you could, please join me in a moment of silence. Gonna gay. There's a few things I'd like to discuss and, just kind of announce while we're here in open forum. And once I get done with these, I'll let the rest of the business committee make their announcements or speak on whatever it is they'd like to. But this week was a pretty big week. Anybody that pays attention to the news and reads, and we had the COVID-19 vaccination come out, and now with that, there's these questions that are coming up. And so I reached out to our area officials and tried to get as much information as I possibly could, just so I could present it in this forum and in this meeting. And, some of these things we'll be happy to put on our website and out on social media. But the notes that I have, I spoke to administrative officer at the Northeast Tribal Health System, and the first round of Moderna vaccination is in the process of being delivered, and they'll start administering that early next week. And the information on the vaccines I pulled from the chief medical officer of the Osage, Dr. Ron Shaw, and his breakdown was that, because there was a lot of questioning whether the vaccine was good, bad, a lot of taboos, a lot of, the federal government has a history of, administering drugs to native populations, and there's a lot of misconceptions misconstrued around that. And so I want to offer the information that I have, and it's basically that the vaccination itself does not have the COVID-19. There is no live virus in the vaccine, but it's an mRNA, which I'm pretty sure that stands for I don't know what the M stands for, but it's ribonucleic acid, if my science background serves me correctly. But they induce the body to recognize the surface of the virus. And what that does is it produces antibodies that help prevent infection, or at least make it mild. And the vaccines that are coming out, there's two types, both Pfizer and Moderna, and they've been studied for about 2 to 3 months by the FDA, as well as the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. And they found that the most serious reactions occurred within the first 4 to 6 weeks. And there really were no serious adverse reactions. Some of the ones that they did encounter was pain at the injection site. And that was really the most common, was pain at the injection site. There were muscle aches, headaches, fatigue, but all of these minimal or minor reactions cleared up within 48 hours. And so both of those, both the FDA and the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, said the risk for these adverse reactions are fairly low. And so those are going to be available at the Miami clinic. Hopefully, by next week, starting Monday. Dr. Shaw also mentioned that, vaccines generally, that it's better to prevent than contract, but to also continue to mask and social distance. And this immunization is really wonderful. It's the next step in combating the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. And getting the vaccine will prevent you from contracting it, or if you get it, the vaccine might keep you from becoming seriously ill or from developing serious complications. There's also been mention of, anyone who's in the 30 to 40-year-old range should not expect to receive the vaccine until April of 2021, and that the vaccines that are these first initial rounds of distribution, it's really an early priority group with healthcare workers, and then next long-term care facilities, and then elders who have other medical illnesses such as heart disease, and then what they're calling essential employees. And so with that first round, the area chiefs in the Intertribal Council are working with the Northeast Tribal Health System to basically set our own priority groups. So if we have traditional or cultural knowledge keepers that, elders first, language speakers, those types of characteristics within our own citizen base, that's who we would prefer and put on the priority list to have those administered to. But even if you're unable to get those vaccines, it's still recommended that you get your flu shot, and those are also available at the clinic. All you need is your ID, and if they don't have a chart for you, you just get your CDIB and your tribal ID, and you should be good to go. So yeah, that's what I have on the report for COVID-19 vaccination. Zach, do you have anything to add to that?
No, just our healthcare workers, our ambulance, our guys on the ambulance and stuff, they are actually signing up to get theirs through the state with the Ottawa County Health Department. They've opened those signups up. I think the deadline to sign up is the 23rd of December. And I know most of our guys, I was actually just checking the list real quick. It looks like a lot of them have already started signing up to get the vaccine. So.
Good. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Buffalo.
in relationship to COVID-19 vaccinations, I received a recorded phone call from Thermal Unit Hospital yesterday, as a matter of fact, that they have a supply on hand. They will do medical personnel first, and they will be sending out another recorded message of their priorities in the near future.
Perfect. Thank you, and thank you for that update. Claremore is also, within the area, and I look forward to getting as much information as we can in the weeks to come. That way our citizens are taken care of. So thank you. Another announcement I'd like to make, and this is pretty historical in my opinion, and that is Deb Haaland was named by President-elect Joe Biden for the Secretary of Interior. And if confirmed by the Senate, Ms. Haaland will serve as top official at the Department of Interior. And she is the first Native American appointed to the cabinet of a presidential administration. And her position on environmental justice as it affects Indian country, I find refreshing and encouraging. I have, great rapport with Madam Secretary Deb Haaland and her staff. We all went to the same law school. So I look forward to continuing and strengthening our working relationship with her office. And personally, I think it's great to see a brown Native woman included at the top level of government. So, and then the last thing I'd like to say is yesterday was a busy day, but it was a great day for all of us. The chairman's Christmas rummage sale raised over $300, and those funds went directly to ensure tribal children, have a good Christmas and they're taken care of. So I want to say thank you to everyone who came out to support the cause, especially Flossie Matthews, who called me out for running on Indian time, as I often do. The business committee had 300 goodie bags to gift to tribal elders, along with turkeys and other gifts. So I want to say thank you to the tribal administration for putting all of those bags together. And thank you to the downstream warehouse team for all the extra gifts. It was good to see all the elders come through and be able to wish them happy holidays. It was real good. And then we had the Quapaw Nation Blessing Tree Project gift distribution yesterday. So I want to say thank you to the Quapaw Learning Center, the Tribal Admin Office, the library, and the museum for executing the program from start to finish. You guys really did a phenomenal job with this. You answered the call that we put out, and I think it was well received, and I think everybody that was involved did some really great things for some Quapaw youth yesterday, and it was a really good feeling. So I want to say thank you to everyone for that. And then finally, I want to thank the Quapaw Nation maintenance crew for delivering firewood this week to some tribal elders. They were in need of some heat, and the entire crew not only chopped it, but they delivered it and stacked it for them. And it's good to see that and be able to service some of our tribal members in need of heat during the winter months. So I want to say thank you to the Quapaw Nation maintenance crew for that. And with that, I'll open it up to any of the other business committee members.
I would just like to say happy birthday, Chairman Byrd, just so everybody knows. I don't know if we said that earlier, but happy birthday.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and give an update because I know this is what a lot of people are really interested in. But also, happy birthday, Kaz.
Thanks, man.
But an update on the litigation. I'll start with Bear because it's kind of the shortest explanation, but there's really not a lot of movement. Still trying to get glommed on for that CR, looking into mid-January. As many of you are probably aware or have been watching the news, Congress has been kind of drowned in the discussion or debate on being able to push or pass the omnibus bill for more COVID stimulus relief. Most recently, they attached another provision in there to do a distribution to U.S. citizens at $1,200 a person. So that does have bipartisan support, and it does look likely that it's going to be passed. If it didn't pass yesterday, wasn't able to check this morning. But with that being said, it doesn't leave a lot of time for them to give total consideration to our issue with Bear. So updates to follow. Looking towards January, and but things are moving in the right direction. We've got really great support on Capitol Hill, specifically. Congressman Mark Wayne Mullen is really working very diligently with us to get this done. Now moving on to Good Eagle, we've had really great success getting these land records kind of combed through. We've got we're probably in our second or third round of reconciling numbers, and I think that we've finalized where we're at. We're definitely on schedule to have this done by the end of the year, and anticipate January 1 to have letters and checks start to be mailed out to individual plaintiffs. That being said, we were able to identify a lot of issues with some of the payment that had happened previously. There are individuals who were compensated far more than what they should have been, and then the inverse is also true. Something that we're going to discuss with those claimants themselves. And so if any of you are aware that you are part of Good Eagle, I just keep an eye out for January 1. We will be reaching out to all of you, and we will be getting that disbursement put together, and then also kind of fully explaining it to you. That is because my belief is that claimants were never fully apprised of what really was at issue, and we want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So that being said, that's all I have in terms of the litigation. Just looking for January 1. I think everybody's ready for 2021.
Thank you for that report. Anybody else? Vice Chair?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I would kind of like to do a little bit of a state of the finances update, though. You know that we've seen a lot of strength in the bond market, and as many people are aware, our two largest tribal casinos are financed through bonds themselves, and then myself and the rest of the business committee have been doing a lot of work to go tell our story to Wall Street, and kind of looking at the value of our property, our employees, our tribal members, and really, what an excellent group of people, and what an amazing community that we have. And really, as a result, we've been able to come in and make quite a few managerial decisions. We've seen the property operating really at a profit margin that it has never really seen before. And as a result, when the chairman and myself took office, our bonds really on both properties were roughly marketed at about $80 a bond. I can say that now the downstream bonds are now being marketed around $104, and Saracen bonds are being marketed about $115.50. So, I mean, that's a massive improvement, 24 points, and with the other being somewhere around the 35-point increase.
Mr. Secretary,
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. You were on a roll, but if you could explain or possibly give some detail as to what or why the change, or what even goes into that determination as to how those move like they do.
Absolutely. So these bonds are closely held, meaning that we don't have a lot of creditors. But that being said, the value of the bond really, actually, the bond market itself is really kind of the initial indicator of what the economy is doing. Now, that being said, the price of bonds is generally a reflection on creditors and Wall Street's confidence in the success of this business being able to manage debt, and also to be able to operate, profitably. So just at $80, these are $100 par value bonds. At $80, whenever we took office, it would be effectively like Wall Street saying we're 80% certain that they're gonna, maybe be able to pay off their debt. At this point in time, we're well over 100%, meaning that Wall Street itself has indicated that they are very confident in the managerial shift of these properties. Also, they believe that the value of the property has gone up itself. So that being said, we are seeing really great increases in the value of these operations, in addition to seeing, a really great improvement in their confidence in the new direction of these properties, and so it's really encouraging. We've gotten a lot of phone calls, emails, even congratulations. Some of that kind of was due to a conference that I spoke at a couple weeks ago, and was really able to kind of bring the confidence level up. And we've got a ton of interest now. There's people literally fighting tooth and nail to become creditors on our properties. So it really bodes well for us in terms of getting, better traditional financing in the future, so that these properties can be paid off faster. And so we could get into a debt-free environment where we have hundreds of millions of dollars more money that will come back to the tribe, so that we can provide for tribal members.
So what you're saying is the house isn't burning down and we're actually doing a good job, more or less. Is that fair to say?
I actually probably be fair to say that we're doing probably as good, if not better, than we've ever done.
Right on. Okay. Any more you would like to add? Sorry, you were on a roll.
No, I think I've put enough people to sleep.
Well, I think it's wonderful. Again, I couldn't be more happy with, in terms of downstream, our casino operations. I'm really happy with where we're at. The fact that we're able to perform so well during a pandemic, the fact that we're performing well as a commercial license holder, grand opening during a pandemic. It's been challenging, but I think we're ending the year on a positive note, and it's a testament to all the people that are involved with that in the operations, as well as the regulatory side of things. And it's not just, one or two people, it's an entire committee doing these. It's an entire operation from top to bottom, coming in, putting in hard work, and then the result is exactly what you're talking about. So thank you. Okay, anything else? Does anybody else have anything to say? Michelle?
I didn't know if you were going to mention anything about our new livestock that we have.
I was waiting for somebody to say it. You want to go ahead?
Well, I don't know a whole lot of the details, but I do know that we have a beautiful white buffalo now that we own, and I gave him a name, aka Frosty, just me personally. But it's a beautiful animal, so I would encourage our tribal members to go and see him.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that. I think having a white buffalo in our herd is it's really wonderful. I can't explain it, or I can't express it enough. What this means to me, what this means to our people as a blessing, a rebirth, if you will, going into the new year, starting 2021, fresh, putting everything that we're dealing with behind us, and receiving those blessings, and moving forward as a people. I think it's really amazing. And there's a story behind it, but it's not my story to tell. So I don't know if you want to tell it or not, Guy, but I think it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, so I got a phone call from Jason Reeves, a tribal member, but also our bison herd manager, and he had been out at the food processing plant. And I'll call him a partner of ours that we do some work for over at the processing plant, was in the process of moving some of his animals from a ranch that he had sold in Missouri to one that he had purchased in New Mexico. And he had brought with him a white buffalo that had been out there for 45 days. We didn't know. And we found out the day that they were scheduled to come pick him up. I decided to swing by there that morning on my way up to a meeting. And I think when I saw him, I knew that it was something that had to, it was really kind of this moment of hope. And this is really kind of a symbol of what it is for Indian country as well. I think that everybody, has gone through a very difficult year. 2020 has ravaged communities and families, and we've even seen that loss in Quapaw country as well. And even in my own personal life, I've been able to see a lot of great things and a lot of success this year, but also gone through some difficulty with my family. And while the individual who owned this bison was very aware of its rarity and, how special it is, I think he may not have initially understood how we see this as kind of a sacred, if not religious event. And they were gracious enough to reach an agreement with us that we could bring that buffalo into our pastures and make a permanent home for him here with us. He is a young white buffalo. He's not very old, but we're very happy to have him here. And kind of talking about some of the things that I've had in my family. I got the phone call the second that we got that arrangement put together and welcomed him into our herds and our pasture. It's, moments later, I got the phone call that, my dad had gone into remission now for the third time, and he's beat cancer 3 times, which many people don't. And I don't know if it's coincidence or fate or what, but I hope it's a good indication of, really great positive change to come. I know that I've seen it already, but I'm hoping that this is something that could really spread its energy to the rest of our tribal people. So.
Thank you for sharing that story. And, again, I think it's wonderful, a wonderful addition to our herd. And I feel like we are moving in a positive direction as a tribe, as a people. And I look forward to more good things to come for our citizens and our community and throughout Indian country, for that matter. I was trying to end it on a white buffalo note, but there is a question in the comments section asking if you could speak to whether we're up on revenues, down on expenses, or both at Downstream.
Sure. Yeah. We just got November numbers in. And I guess to act like COVID is not having an impact on the business itself would be foolish. and to better address a question, revenues are down. I guess looking at November right here, our November revenue for this month was at about 13.5 million. This is on downstream, but 13.5 million versus November of last year, which is about 15.7. Now, that's a $2.2 million difference. But happy to say that the EBITDA margin, which would be the profit margin, was actually $2.3 million higher this year, this November versus last November. We have operated the property at a 50.59% EBITDA margin for that month, which means not only did we make up for the $2.1 million offset in revenue, we tacked on an additional $2.3 million on top of that. So you're looking at about a $4.4 million increase, and a lot of that is from expense savings. We've given pretty guided directives out there to different departments on how we would like to be looking at expenses moving forward. And many of them have really kind of answered that call. It's been great to see. And we've got others that have probably always been looking at things that way. Billy Schapp is one of those people coming in and saying that, he doesn't want to do anything that's going to unnecessarily cost money to the tribe and its members. And I think that that's really an amazing thing. And I think that that's probably something that an attitude that has not always been shared around that business, but it's definitely one that is becoming very infectious. So I hope that answers your question, Billy.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to mention?
I wasn't sure if we wanted to mention this or not, and I know in February we'll be able to see what the impact is, but I wanted to let everybody know that we just got done increasing our sales tax and implementing a new public safety sales tax, a 1%. That's going to help us offset the expenses that we have in our safety department. So.
Yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to add to that and say, part of the ability or the authority rather of a sovereign is to be able to tax for, governmental functions. That goes back to infrastructure, health and welfare, safety, and everything along those lines. So to me, that's a real true exercise of tribal sovereignty. And I'm glad we made that change, made that switch. So looking forward to that. Any other comments? I know that there's, maybe 1-2 people typing on the chat. I want to be able to address any questions they may have. Oh, yes. I may be putting her on the spot. But Michael, if we could unmute Joita so she could give us an update. I think she's got some really wonderful news to share in the committee. Joita, are you on?
Yes, I'm on. I'm so excited. Of course, I've been out for about a week and a half with COVID. So it's been really a hardship because we're trying to do open the center and everything, and so it's been crazy, but we're still doing it. We're on top of everything. So we are looking at the 21st, which is, well, the keys were handed over to us December 18th, which was Friday, yesterday. And so we got the keys, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. We have a company called Lakeshore. They are coming in to set up a lot of our equipment and toys and set up our classrooms. And then we are going to close the 28th, so that we can fully transition over without any children at all in the building, because we will have some children in the building the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, because they didn't have no alternative care. But so then after we should, the December 29th, be ready to fully move all the kids over to the new building and open, which I hope to be able to get the building smoked before we do that. So I just, I know my brother is sick with COVID as well, so I know he won't be able to do it. So I just I'm gonna have to get that done, but I'm just really excited because it means a whole lot more space for the kids, and it eventually we'll be enrolling even more kids and be able to help more parents. So I'm really excited. So, and I'm glad construction's gonna be over with.
Yeah, I bet you are. I want to say thank you for, doing all that you do. Anytime, construction is happening, it's always an interesting whirlwind of events, and sprinkle a pandemic in there. It's hard to everything. There's a lot of moving pieces to, not just the supply chain, but also, with the subcontractors and everything that they do. So thank you for guiding that, and, kind of being the point person, making sure that all the specs are where they need to be, but also making sure that the consideration of children is performed. And you do a good job. Your entire staff does really wonderful job. So I just want to say thank you, and wishing you blessings and a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and keeping you in prayer for a quick recovery. I know you and Tink, positive cases, but just want to say we're thinking about you. We're praying for you for a speedy recovery.
Thank you. And I love my job. I appreciate everything that the tribe does for us. And just want to say happy birthday and Merry Christmas to everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Okay. Anything else? Okay. I'd like to end. I'd like to end by mentioning that during the winter months, especially around these times, it seems like a lot of folks have lost loved ones around holidays, around this season, or maybe they're experiencing Christmas for the first time without, having a loved one or having a relative there who was there last year, who was with us, at the beginning before the pandemic started. And I want to encourage those folks that are in grief and in mourning to reach out. The tribe has counseling services as well as family services in our tribal court building at the Kahota. And, they do a really wonderful job with counseling services, behavioral health, that kind of stuff. So anybody that's going through some things and, they're down, even depression, I just want to encourage everyone that we do have that available as a tribe. And I encourage that. And, you know, even if you don't decide to go that route, I still want to encourage a healthier, a more healthy lifestyle, you know, whatever that may be, physical activity daily, get your vitamin D, um, prayer, meditation, you know, whatever that is to help get you through, you know, some difficult times, some challenging times of whatever it is that you may be encountering during the winter months. I just want to encourage that and, you know, send a positive note out to everyone that you're not alone and we can help, we can assist, we're here to help. So just wanted to say that. And with that, Callie, do you mind closing us out in prayer? Is that okay?
Oh, goodness, on the spot. It's going to be short and sweet, but yes, I sure will.
That's fine.
Dear Heavenly Father, letting all of us come here today to conduct meeting for our tribal people. Please be with all of those that are struggling this holiday season. Help those who have COVID, help them get through it and heal their bodies. Lay your hands on them. Lay your hands on all those who are grieving and help those who are just lonely. Thank you for everything that you've done for us, and please continue to watch over us. These things we ask you in Jesus' name. Amen.
For sure. Amen.
Chairman, I'll move to adjourn.
All right. We have a motion to adjourn. Second? Anybody?
Second.
We have
Second.
a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.